You're confident and self-assured. You walk in a room with your head held high. But so often, your confidence is misunderstood. And it's often misunderstood by those who are less confident than you. I'm Cicely, and let's talk about what happens when your confidence is misunderstood and what to do about it. I've certainly been in that spot in my career, and I'm sure many of you have as well. So, in today's career conversation, let's talk about the difference between confidence and arrogance and what to do when your confidence is misunderstood. First, let's distinguish between the two. Your confidence often is thought about as being egotistical or maybe even cocky. That's not what confidence is. Confidence is actually internal. It is that quiet sense of having faith in your abilities. Confidence is actually knowing that you have nothing to prove to anyone. You know your self worth, you know your self value, and you know the value that you offer to others. That's what quiet confidence is. You don't have anything to prove to anybody. Arrogance, on the other hand, it's external. Arrogance is when you think you're above other people or you're better than others. Arrogance is when the actual ego comes into play. So, do you see the difference? Confidence is internal, arrogance is external. So, now that you know the difference, let's talk about what happens when you're actually confident, but that confidence is misunderstood. So imagine for a moment that when you walk in that room, others are thinking, I don't know. I don't know about her. And they instantly tried to label you. Now, when you walk in that room, if you're confident, then you have nothing to worry about. And that's the first piece you have to understand. If your confidence is misunderstood, ask yourself, am I carrying my confidence the right way? Am I giving off the wrong impression? If you are, then course correct immediately. If you're not, if you're certain that your confidence has not crossed that line into arrogance, then you've got to face a hard truth. And that's the hard truth of today's video. People will often project their insecurity onto you. They will label you as arrogant because they know that the word arrogant will undermine your success and your credibility. Do you apologize for it? Do you tone down who you are to please their labels? Absolutely not. And in fact, let's go back to the quotes that we were just looking at a few minutes ago, because I believe this quote is my favorite. Well, actually, they're all my favorites, but I love the quote, and you can see that don't apologize, but this is my favorite. I'm only arrogant when my confidence meets your insecurity. I'm here to tell you from my own experience, that is so true. I've been called arrogant many times. And when I've asked, well, why do you think I'm arrogant? The answer, the answer often has more to do with the person answering that question than it does with me. And that is the unfortunate truth. If you know you're arrogant, if you know your confidence has not crossed the line into arrogance, then you know there's some other motive behind the judgment and being called arrogance. But listen, if you have crossed that line from confidence into arrogance, you got to course correct quickly. But if you haven't, then you need to accept that maybe there's another motive driving the label that's being assigned to you. So here's my point. Other people are going to label you because it serves their own purposes, not your own. If you're not wearing your confidence the correct way, then fix it immediately. If you don't know how to do that, reach out to me. Let's talk about how you course correct to make sure you're on the right line of confidence and not arrogance. But if you are being labeled and if you're being called arrogant to serve someone else's purposes, then let's be honest. You don't have to adopt that label. You don't have to subscribe to what they're saying to you, but you need to own your confidence, own your self-esteem and your worth and the hard work it took to build that confidence in the first place. Don't shy away from being confident just because somebody misunderstands your confidence or they're labeling you to fit their own purposes. One of my favorite quotes that I'll leave you with is, Don't dim your light because it's shining in someone else's eyes. Let me repeat that. Don't dim your light simply because it is shining in someone else's eyes. That is about the honest truth I can leave you with on this Monday morning about not only confidence versus arrogance, but what's often driving the label of being arrogant in the first place. Now, if you don't know if your confidence has moved into arrogance and you're not sure if you're misunderstood, reach out to me. Let's have a conversation. I appreciate that a number of you reached out to me last week after last week's video. Happy to have a conversation. Let's make sure that you're exuding the right confidence and that you're wearing your confidence well. But don't let someone dim your light simply because it's shining in their eyes. For those of you who are here this morning, thank you for joining me. By the way, thank you for your patience. I was not here last Thursday due to technical difficulties of coming home and not having internet. So, thank you for showing up this morning. Let's get to the comments this morning. Chris, I'm so inspired that you're sharing this message today. Quiet confidence. Absolutely. There's a fine line between confident and cocky. Eileen, there is. And we have to understand what that fine line is, but more importantly, which side of that line that we are on. So I completely agree with you. Yeah, Chris, I wanted to bring out those quotes, quite frankly, because I think they sent a message better than I could in this video about not apologizing, about you're only deemed arrogant when your confidence meets someone's insecurity. I have found that time and time again to be true in my career. I've been called arrogant a lot simply because I'm a very confident person, and I've often found out the arrogance was not me. It was their own insecurity about how I conducted myself. So, Chris, I'm glad those quotes resonated with you. I thought they were very powerful in and of themselves, but they also send a powerful message that I felt like could convey far better than I. And I was inspired by those quotes and I was doing my research for today's video. Chris Rivera, good morning. Never tone down your confidence if you feel you have respected other people's boundaries and their right to express their opinions. The boundaries question, Chris, is a great point. And that's a great point. And I appreciate it. I want to put that back on the screen so that everyone can see it. If you've respected other people's boundaries and the right to express their opinion, Chris, that's exactly kind of the line between arrogance and confidence that we were talking about. Confidence is when you're not respecting their opinion and you don't respect those boundaries and you're not listening. That's arrogance. I'm sorry, that's arrogance. Arrogance is the ego. You know, you're gonna do this and you're gonna leave people, you're gonna run over people and leave them in your wake. That's not confidence. That's not confidence at all. So, Chris, I appreciate that you made that distinction about the boundaries and the right to express their opinion. That is confidence, but if you cross that line, then that is where the arrogance comes into play. And again, I want to emphasize this morning, if you've crossed that line from confidence into arrogance, course correct immediately. It is undermining you, and you may not realize it. But if you're absolutely certain you haven't crossed that line, then you need to ask a tougher question if there's something else behind the label of you being called arrogant or you being judged arrogant. So that is really what I want to leave you with this morning. I thank you all for being here with me this morning. I am going to put a link below for how you can reach me in case you want to talk about your confidence versus arrogance and making sure that you're wearing your confidence the right way. And I'm also going to link below to some additional free resources. I noticed that some of you have been taking the career assessment on my website and you've been signing up for my free newsletter that's linked here. I'm also going to put those links in comments below so that you have them for your availability, and I encourage you to take advantage of those. So this morning, my friends, as we conclude, my thought for this week, my hope for you this week is that you won't let someone dim your light because it's shining in their eyes.